beautiful writing here. Yeah? Okay, now we have these two things figured out. Now the next question will be, okay, we just figure out this parent is some kind of constraints and constraint is some kind of parent because they do the dependencies. My next question will be, we just talk about parent versus constraints. Then I like to ask you, first think as the hierarchy, because we know that parenting dependencies, and if we talk about these terms, we think about the hierarchy. Now my question will be, if we work with a parent, is there, if I parent something underneath the other object, do I create a hierarchy or not? In this case, in case of parent. Yes, right. In case of constraint, no. What I have in case of constraint, here I have hierarchy. And what I have here, I have no hierarchy here, but what's going on there? Because how this constraints manipulate the channels of my child object.
Some kind of node connection. I don't know.
Yeah, it's right, because it's some kind of node connection, because first what you see here, if you do constraint, if you constrain the child object to a parent, what's happening on the child object, one parent constraint node will be created. You can see it. It's just like a node, and what this node does, it just connects one attribute of the parent to one attribute of the child. Is it true? Let's see here. We have here our child here. I just save it maybe, and I just kill it here. And as you see here, if you open your outliner, my script editor, I think I have outliner somewhere here. There's my something else. Oh, you can also see. But first, let's see in outliner, because it's. You see here we have a parent, and you see if I have my child, underneath the child is the parent constraint node. What this parent constraint node does, if you look on a child, on a channels, because we have parent constraint, our channels are locked. What's happened here? If we just see these three objects here, I just look at the node editor, and I just clear my graph here. Sorry, clear, and I bring my elements inside what I selected, because what we need this child transform. We need these parents. This I don't need. Don't delete it. Just press here, and we just take this one, and we would say, hey, show me please the incoming connection. If you look here, you can show incoming connection. You can show both, and you can show outgoing connection. Because what we're interested in is just like what coming here and translate and rotate, because we saw this in the channel box that the channels were blocked. And now I just take this guy and say, show me the incoming connection. And what you see here, what's happened, these two guys coming inside the constraint node. I just take it this way. You see they coming like targets here, and we have this waiting here, and this constraint rotate and constraint translate. If you open it this way, they just coming inside of the chat object. What's happened? It's just like, maybe you can see some connection here because it's going through the parent constraint node. You can connect them also directly, but it will be a little bit complicated to set up, because, for example, you can, if you have only one child, you can connect only one parent, you can connect directly. I show you what I mean. For example, you can do something like that. Yeah.
Can we still adjust like what the constraint is? Like, for example, if we like did a parent constraint like this, and we're like, oh, okay, but I don't want the x and the axis to, then we can just like put it away. Or
yeah, I just can take it this here and say adieu. I mean, this is yeah. This is not, it's not destructive. You can just I just bring it back now because we need it.
Basically, if we want to achieve something and we don't want to go through the whole process of connecting the constraint by ourselves, we can just create one and then delete the parts we don't want.
Yeah, you can do it. Normally, you can, for example, you can do it before you create your constraint or after, because I show you if you create, for example, the parent constraint, that will be the second thing here. What we just talk about. We'll talk about. If you, for example, create any constraint here, I go to rigging and I just go to constraint. I go to parent. You see here, you can choose which channel you have to. But you can, if you take this all channels, you can delete them after, or you can break connection. If I also, what I can do, for example, I can take this child here and say, for example, I don't like to translate X. I just show what's happening here. If I show my node editor, maybe some kind of here. I don't know if it will be updated, but yeah, it has to be. I can just go here and say, hey, I have here rotate X here. This coming here. Oh, sorry, this translate here is rotate X here. And I say, hey, look, I don't want to have it. I just break connection. And what's happened, you see, is just this guy is just go. If I like it, I like to bring it back, I just do this. And you see it's very flexible. That's why that will be the second thing here. What we achieve here. There is no hierarchy, but you can write down here. We have first we have flexibility here. No, I just throw everything away, so I just cannot bring it back. Yeah. This flexibility. Okay, we have here flexibility, which is good. Then what we have here as a class, I just write a good thing for each channel here. These are the good things. We have here hierarchy. We have a flexibility. Then we have here, for example, free channels. And we have here locked channels. This is also, I just do it this way. For example, this hierarchy, you can see like a good thing or a bad thing. The flexibility is always good. The free channels are always good. The locked channels are bad because I cannot do anything with my child because it has a locked channels. But there is a way around. and I will show you when we rigging some more complicated stuff here. Okay, this the next thing is if we talk about the parent and parent constraint is the performance. Because as a rigger, you have to be very careful with the performance, because your rig have to be or has to have possibility to play at least in 24 frames per second. If you have a rig that just play one frame per second, that will be very bad for the animator. Okay, in this case we talk about the performance. In your opinion, which of this method is lighter on performance? Parenting, yeah, because parenting is very simple. There is no knots. It's just like my see, okay, there is one object and another is parented. I rotate it, it just home with. This is lighter. I just write performance here. Okay. Performance. Okay, that's what we have here. Slow. Okay, on the other hand, as I already showed you, if I have two parents and only one child, because we say we have possibility to have only one child, there is a dependency between two parents. In this case, we have two. We can have 3 or 5 or 10. And what we have there, for example, I have a child and I have 2 parents, and every parent has its own weight on a child. And I show you how we can also just manipulate this weighting of the parent. You can just imagine, okay, I have one child in the middle and one parent just pull the child to his side, and another parent pull the child on his side. And with this weighting, we can just say, okay, the child go to parent 1 or to parent 2. And we talk about normalized weights. What is this? What is normalized weights? Okay, we have here 2 parents, they have weighting on a child. And what is a normalized weight? Why we talk about this normalized weight? Yeah.
My theory.
50, no, 50. No, it's not about the 50-50. It's just like something. I just maybe give you some help. If I would like to just explain these 2 weights in conjunction to each other, and I would say, okay, look, this guy pulling the child was 80%, and another guy pulling also with 80%. What's happened? What's happened with this child?
Dying.
Huh?
It's dying.
Nothing. It's just staying because it's 50-50, isn't it? Even we put 80% on it. Okay, now with this guy just pulling with 200%, on this guy also with 200%. What's happened? We have 50-50. It doesn't matter what 200, 800, 900. What normalized is, we just do, okay, we say, okay, the sum of our sum of these weights is always 100%. There cannot be, if one when the stake was 80% and another have only possibility to push 20%. We just normalize it in one way that we say, okay, we have one range. And if one guy or one parent do something, I can just figure out what's the next do. Does it make sense to you? If I just, now I have 100 parents and everybody pulls with 230, 1 million watt, then I would never be, I can never just calculate what the child does. But if I just say, hey, look, our range is 100%, and please now just look whatever you want to do, but stay in this 100%. And that will be, well, for me and for my also very good to calculate if someone have a 20%, another 5, maybe another 20. The sum of all these weights is 100, or we're just pulling this way, 100 is 1. Everything in Maya or in every program is normalized, means the range is 0 to 1. Does it make sense to you? We just take this 100 and put to 1. We have now range here of the weights from 0 to 1. If one pulling down with 1 point, or 0.00001, then I calculate what another does. Then it will be 0.999999. Then the sum is always 1. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, I think now I got it.
Okay, normalized weights is for here. I just write down here normalized. Normalized weights. Okay, now we just go to my next question. I just throw it away. And now we talk about the constraints, because, or maybe here. We have for both here, oh, come on. We have for both here, translation, translate, rotate, and scale. Which channels are or which channels are connected by the parent? If I do the parenting, what's happened? Yeah, all channels will be just connected. That means if I rotate my parent, the child will rotate. If I translate, it will translate. If I scale, it will scale. Which channels now are here? I mean, we have here different kind of parents. If you look at your constraints here, you have parent constraint, point constraint, orient constraint, scans constraint. Just ignore this 3 and other ones because I will explain it later. But now we just concentrate on these 3 guys. The first one, I would say we just ignore the parent first. The point constraint. What does the point constraint? Which channels connected point constraint? Right, transformations. I just write here point. And here you have translate or transformation. What's going on here? Translate. Okay, what about the orient? Right. And what about the parent? Right. Translation plus rotation. Okay, now the question is, the next question would be this. What is this? Scale. Right. This is not beautiful. Scale is scale. I don't know why orient, why parent, but anyway. I know why. This is the next question. And next question will be, okay, if I put everything, if I put my parent constraint, or another question. If I do parent, what will be equivalent here to just replicate this behavior? Or can, okay, I do now, we will talk about the two objects, forget about this complicated figures. We will just talk about two objects, two spheres. If I, for example, if I parent one sphere to another here, what will be equivalent to do the same behavior here with the constraints? Can you just think and give me the question or give me the answer? Okay, we will do just a little bit test here, and we'll just see what's happening. Normally, I would say, okay, if I have here a parent, I just can take this parent and scale, for example. And also, for example, why I have to have this parent constraint if I can create with a point constraint, orient constraint, and scale constraint the same. Why do I need this guy? I will show you why, because there is some difference in the behavior. And for example, I just take here away this guy because we don't need it. I just take this guy also away. I hide them. And we have our grid here. I just press, sorry. Here's my grid, and I create only one sphere, maybe a polygon or whatever. I have a sphere here, and I duplicate it. I duplicate my sphere. I just do a little bit transformation here, and I do. This is my child, and this is my parent object. What I do then, I just take my child object and I just parent underneath my. Okay, this is my parent. What I do now, I just take this one, I just duplicate it, and I unparent this guy. We already know the shortcuts. P is for parent, shift P is for unparent. This is my constraint. You see they are on the same place. I will just take them and just put them a little bit here that we can just see the difference. And now what I would do, maybe I just take this guy and also duplicate them not once again. maybe we can do the P for Papa on C for child. We have here P, sorry, P, I just do parent constraint, P parent on T child parent, and I will just take these guys to duplicate them again, bring them here, and I just say this is my parent orient point, or orient and point constraint on here, this child orient point. Okay, now this is my parent. Now what I do here, I just take this one and I say, okay, you are the parent, because we know that the parent have to be selected first, child the second, and I go here and I do constraint, parent constraint. We'll learn also about this maintain offset. Is there anybody can explain me what this maintain offset does? Because there is a very important thing we talked the last time, because with this guy we will align object to each other. If I have some object and I like, for example, to orient my constraint, my control object to this object, I can use this option. Can someone of you just answer the question? What is this? What does maintain offset does?
It is enabled, the object stays in the position it was before applying the constraint, but if you uncheck the box, then it will move between the parents. Yeah.
Okay. Right, this is just maintain offset. I have an offset here. Just maintain it. If you don't maintain it, this object will fly on a position where my parent is. It's very simple. I just have position. You just can think about the position. Maintain position. We have an offset here. We have a position here. Please let the guys stay where they are. Not the guys, the child one. Okay, I do the maintain. And I do here add. And you see immediately what's happened. If I rotate this one, if I translate this one, the behavior is the same. Oh, sorry, I just do this one. If I take this guy, you see the same thing happened here. But if I rotate, you see what happened here. It's rotating this way. And this, I can select them both, and you see. This is the same thing happened here. You see, this is my parent constraint. Now I do here, oops, sorry. That means this is the same behavior that I have here, parent and parent. That's why is saying here parent. Now I do here the combination of these two. I just take first my parent, take the orient here. Then I go here, I do the constraint, point constraint. I need maintain offset 2 here. And now what I do here, and I do another constraint, orient constraint. Maintain offset 2, add. And you see what's happened here. If I translate this guy as the same thing, but if I rotate it, look what's happened. And at first you say it's happened, is nothing happened, but it's not true. If I show my wireframe on object, you see what's happened. The object rotating over his own pivot. Does it make sense to you? What's happened here and here? That means if you want to just think about, because we talk about that the parent constraint is the sum of a point and orient. It's right. but they are two different behavior. And I show you why they the name of the parent constraint is parent constraint, because the parent constraint is just like orient with point constraint, but this this parent constraint just replicate the behavior of parent. In this case, the orient and point do the different thing, because the orient just, if you rotate this one just rotate around its own axis or pivot point. Does it make sense to you why they you can look just like if you do the parent, if you look at parent constraint, it replicates the normal parent. But if you wanna do some another behavior that I like to have here, for example, if I take my object here and I put it around here, but if I rotate this object, it rotates like that here. Because in this case, if I put this guy somewhere and I rotate it, it's totally different behavior. And now we have another one. It's just like scale constraint. There is, if I put the scale constraint also here, because look, if I now just scale my object here, what's happened? The child scales, but what's happened here is just like that I told you already before. What you're doing here, the child is normally not scaling. You put the child inside the world of parent, and you just scale the world of the child here, because this guy is living here. If you scale the world, in this case, this child what lives in this world will be scaled too. Now we'll look at the scale constraint here, because I will do the same here. I will take this guy, these two guys here, first parent, child, and I do constraint and scale constraint. You can do maintain offset, but there will be no difference because I scale it already here. You see my scale a little bit. That's why I put the maintain on and I say add, and I do the same here, here, and I go here, constraint, scale, and don't forget to put this maintain offset on. And you see here, I just bring them all back in translation. In Y, I get back that we will see the differences here. I just put enter, and I need my X to be 0, 2, not X. Anyway, I just bring everything down to 0, and after I just can just take them and move. Okay, I take this guy, bring them to 0, and I move here. Okay, now you see if I scale these three objects, look what's happened. They're behaving differently. Because this one, you see, this one is my parent. This one replicate the parent. And you see, if you look here, I have my parent constraint here. That means if you use a parent constraint, it replicates whatever the parent do. But if you don't use parent constraint, your child scales on his own pivot point. You see here when I do this guy here and I scale them now, you see this guy just stays, but it scales on its own pivot point. Does it make sense to you? Why the people give the name like that? Why parent constraint and why orient on point? Okay, great. Then we have this guys. Good. Now I just go a little bit also to the repetition because it's very, very important. We talk about many things on a first lesson. Then I will repeat them here and I ask you about this and we discuss about this because we will we'll have to have some I just let it here maybe to explain something else, but I write it down here. Okay, then we will have something here. Then we talk about first thing is joints and no joints. Then we talk about geometry preparation. We talk about workflow. We talk about double transformation. And then also we talk about the control objects. Control objects. I just write down offset. Okay. And here double transformation, I just write down folder structure. Good. First thing first, joints, no joints. Everybody of you, if you hear about the rigging, the first thing that you will learn or you will hear, okay, the joints. You have put the joints there. You will do the joints. Is there necessary to do rigging with the joints? No, right? Because we can use everything and just rig. Because normally what we, at the end of the day, what we have is some dependencies. We have some controllers. If we do something, these dependencies are going to the dependency graph and we have the result. Now we also talk about very, very important things here. Why I just write about the joints, no joints, as all about hard surface rigging. Can you say, one of you, can you explain what a hard surface rigging is? What's different between?
A mesh that is not deformed.
Right. If I have something like a car or a spaceship, whatever, or a lamp, but we did, the last time, there is nothing that I have to deform. In this case, it's case of this hard surface really. Good. The same. The next thing is the geometry preparation. What we talk about the geometry preparation. Why it's so important that we prepare first the geometry before we rig it. Why it's so important? We talk about a little bit, but I will say a couple of words more today to this topic. Yeah.
Because we rig the rig according to the surface or the mesh.
Yeah, that's true, but why I have to prepare my geometry? Okay, I have a geometry. I've got geometry from another departure. The guys say, hey, why look, I give you very good spaceship. Just do it.
Yeah, because of the port is too much. Would be too much to handle for the.
Yeah, first thing, yeah, it's if I get the model and this model has a 300 million polygons, then I can say, hey guys, there is no way to do, because if even I rig it, the animator will have to sit there and wait. Okay, I go to take a coffee, and in half an hour I come back and I have 10 frames or something, and I just pass you. It's no way to handle geometry. That means if I have something very heavy, what I do at the end, I will prepare. I will say this to this guy, to the party. Hey, very good model, because you have always, if you have a feedback, give a feedback to someone. Just try to stay first positive. You say, hey guys, very good model, it's amazing, but can you do please one low res for me? The guy say, hey, great, we'll do it. Okay, they give you the low res model, but you have to prepare it also. Why you have to prepare it? Because they give you something, okay, it's very low, very good, looking great, but you have to prepare it too. Why you have to prepare it? We're talking first about the hard surface modeling, and then I not modeling, rigging, and I go to right. But first we stay with hard surface. They give you the model, it's looking great. What do you have to prepare there? Okay, maybe I can give you one thing. Yeah, you have the mass of the object there. This spaceship has 1,000 details, and one detail named box 1, another box 3, another blah blah blah. There is a construction history on it. They don't delete it. There is, yeah. If you open here in your outliner, is a mess. It's just like everywhere. It's just there is some object that you don't want to use or whatever. What preparing is you just take the model and look. Hey, if there is some very good naming convention. If you're not responsible to doing this naming convention, you say, hey, look, in a departure, you have this to your modeler. Oh, very good model, very perfect. But can you please do the naming convention that I know what is in your model? The first thing. The second thing, you just look on a history. If there is a history, just delete it, because if you have 1,000 nodes here with construction history and you try whatever with the constraints or with a parent to move them somewhere, what's Maya do? They go through all these history nodes and calculate them. And that's why you have to delete the history. This is the preparation. Now I go not to hard surface, to normal. You have now the model of one character or creature. And you know that you have to deform this. You have to be very, very careful with the age flow of the model. If there is age flow that doesn't work for you, you have to say to the model, hey, look, a great model, whatever, but can you please change me my edge flow, because I need the edges around the mouth, I have the edges around the eyes, and I have the edges around here, and I have the jawline here. Everything has to be there to be able for you as a rigger to, because if you just ignore this and just do your work, what at the end happened, all shit comes on your shoulder. Because the supervisor will not say, hey, the model, because no model look great. But if you don't say the model, hey, I need this, I need this, I need that, if you deform at the end, and the supervisor look at your work and say, oh, what the hell? Everything will be on your shoulder. That's why it's very important, this step, if you work in production. Don't be afraid of do the conversation with these guys. Just begin with positive comments. Just go and just open, because at the end you are responsible for every shit that someone does before you. That's why I'm just writing here this geometry preparation. Does it make sense to you? Okay, great. The second one, workflow. Why I'm talking about workflow? Because as a rigger, you have to know the workflow of your production. Because if you don't, you will never be able to say something to these guys, because you don't know the workflow. And if they do something with high res, and maybe you have to rig the high res, and after it will be just downgraded to low res in another departure, you cannot say this guy, hey, give me the low res, because that's why you have to know the workflow. And normally in a production, it will be clear first the workflow, what you do with it. And on this part, I would just say, can someone explain me what we did before? Why this workflow? For example, why I ask you this question, because look, I have here just like very good model. The modeling departure sent it to me, and it was very, very high resolution, and I said to this guy, please give me the low res one. But at the end of the day, not the low res one have to be on a screen, the high res one. But the animator have to animate the low res one. And now we're going to workflow. Which methods we use that we can animate the low res geometry, and at the screen we're showing the high res. Which method was what we used to make this model from low res to high res, but not on animation stuff. Step.
Displacement map.
Right, displacement map. Can someone explain what the displacement map does? We have a low res model, and we have a high res model. Yeah.
It subdivides the low res model and gives the information, the bitmap information to the vertices of the high res model.
Right. This is very simple. I just write it down here. Or I show you what's happened. For example, you have a low res here. This is a workflow. I show it here. Okay, we have a low res one, and we have a high res one. I just do this way. Okay, what we do before we, or maybe I just do this way, that we have more place here. I just bring it here. Okay, we have low res one, and I do here high res. This is my high res one. This is what you get here. I just take these changes here. What you see here will be written in a map. And this is my displacement map. It's just like a grayscale map, and I told you already, the 0 will be gray if this is this point goes along the normal. On this distance, it will be white. If it's go down, it will be black. In the middle is gray. Every software has its own gray. That's why you have to just match them. But you can this technical stuff you can just. Okay, we have here the map here. It calculates this all displacement, and I know in my low res geometry has about 100 polygons, and I do this every time you subdivide it. It's multiplied by 4. And for example, I just, to simplicity, I will say, okay, my high res geometry is 1600. I subdivide it twice, because if I subdivide it once, it will be 400, and it's subdivided twice, it will be discount. Yeah. Okay, great. Then I have this. Then what's happened? This go to my rigger, this model. This is my workflow. Maybe I can do it blue. This goes to rigging. I do the rig. And after I pass it to animator, animate, and then I have the final result. And my final result look the same, like here. And now what's happened? Normally I can do it in 2 ways. The first way will be I just subdivide it with the geometry, like we do in Maya. I put smooth on it, on wherever, and subdivide it in real. I just change this geometry in Maya. This will be a first thing. For example, first method is real subdivision. I just write real subdivision. That means in my viewport, I would have 1600 polygons. I have 1600 in viewport. This is real subdivision. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I can. And then I would put this map on it. In the first method, I just subdivide it. It will be this way, the same thing. It's subdivided. It has only a little bit more resolution. It will be on the same place. And after, with this map, if I apply this map on it, it will become my high res. You see it. I just try to replicate what I did here. Okay, anyway. Then I have this one. This is the first method you can use, but it's not so common. The second method, everything what you do here in viewport, the renderer does for you. You give the information to the renderer. You like to subdivide it to this level and apply this map and render. Normally, this is the preferred way. You just give a renderer, render, information about how many polygons, about resolution. Oh, come on. Something. Resolution. I think it's to I just write one letter. And you apply the map. Nah. There's something wrong with my map. Just don't do it anymore. Anyway, map. Okay, great. Does it make sense to you? What's happened here? Okay, this is our workflow. Is there any question about this? I think no. Okay, you're going to double transformation folder structure. What this was all about, why I just wash your brain with this all guys here. What was folder structure? What is double transformation? What is this? Can you tell? I will show you what double transformation right here on this object. What is this? Normally, we like to have something like that. This is our right behavior, doesn't it? Okay, now I do something. What is this? Wow, it's looking like magic. This is double transformation. What I normally do in first case, I will just take my parent object and move. And I know that my child is parented to my parent object. That's why the child moving too. But if I select them both, what's happened? I move my parent object, my child comp with parenting with, and I move the child object once again. That means I move the child object double. I just move first this. This is parented, it's coming with, but now I selected the both. Then I move this guy, it moves this one, and I move this one again. That's why it means double transformation. This is just like a very simple thing of the double transformation, because there is a many nodes in Maya that you use for reading. For example, the path or even skin cluster. If you don't do it right, you have the double transformation. For example, the same thing here. I have here the both. You see double transformation, and if I create a joint, I do it for you maybe very quick. I just hide these guys here. Okay, I do the joint, skeleton, joint. Okay, anyway, joint, I just do a little bit bigger. Okay, and I have one object here. I just create a polygon primitive sphere. I just make it a little bit bigger, and I just take this guy and I just skin, fine skinned. Doesn't matter what I'm doing now because it's okay. Now you see, if I move my joint, is everything perfect. But if I select the both, I just do this. Normally, okay, if I select the both now, I will have the same thing. It doesn't work. Because what I do now, my skin cluster, what I put on my vSphere, has already dependency to joint, because the joint has to deform my object. I take my joint, I pull somewhere. That means my sphere coming with, because there's dependency. And what I do, I take this guy also and put it again, and then I have the double transformation. Okay, now we know what double transformation is. And now the question is why we're doing this folder structure, why it's so important. Okay, it's very simple. This folder structure provides you not to guess this double transformation. So simple is that. And if we will do this, I explain you. I will do if we do the for example character or whatever, I will show you what's happened if you do the wrong thing. What this folder structure does is I just put this for you, that you know, okay, which node goes where and why. Because if we just look at everything and you will just don't remember. But if you think about the folder structure, and if you have this folder structure, or you write it down how to build it, you will always remember what we do about the double transformation. That's why I put here this folder structure there, and we built already this folder structure with you, because this folder structure has two very good things. One thing is it provides you from double transformation. The second thing, it does your rig scalable, because I always have the situation that the people at the beginning has a very beautiful rig, but it's not scalable. What's happened there? The environment departure do the very great environment with all kind of dependencies. They are also not scalable. And then they come the character just like a giant inside, and it's also not scalable. What to do now? Even we have to, you know, it's just like there is in my country there is one very good word about this. There was one guy and one mountain, and instead of the guy go to mountain, they prefer the mountain come to him. It's just like you build something very big, and now you have a character, and instead of building the character scalable, you try to scale this whole your world. That maybe there is so many dependencies, maybe another departure did already some stuff that is matching to this. That's why this folder structure also this provides you your rig not to be scalable. But with this guy, you scale everything. Does it make sense to you, this? Because it's also very important. Good. Now, the next one is very, very little one, and I let you go because we have everything to repeat it. Control object and offset. We already know how to align object. Do we? Yeah. How? Then just say, okay, we have two objects. I have a joint here, and I like my control object have to be perfect aligned to my position on orientation of my object. What I have to do?
Just select the object, and then the dedicated object, create a parent constraint, and delete it afterwards.
Right. We just take a little little bit trick there because we know that this parent constraint just have the possibility to take every child on, bring it to his position. But there is a one big or very important thing there. What I have to deactivate in my parent constraint, that my child to be able to fly to the, or orient and to be in a position of my parent object. There is one little thing we have to deactivate on our parent constraint. What is it?
Maintain offset.
Right, this is maintain offset. I write it down because it's very important here also. Maintain. Hey. Just go, I don't, nothing, I maintain. Maintain offset. Great. Then we have to, good. Now, another question. Now we did it. What's happened? Now my controller object stays in position, perfect aligned to my object or my joint, and my question will be, okay, I have a rig with all controllers. I built it, it's working well. Now I'm pushing around my controllers and my rig stays in very bad pose. I like to bring my character to the default position. What I have to do? I have a controller everywhere. Just look at this. I stay now in R pose or A pose or T pose. I have two controllers, one here and one here. Now I put them somewhere and I stay like here. And I like to be back. How can I achieve this? It's very simple. If I have controllers here, I just zero out everything on a controllers here. Rotation and translation. If I put them somewhere, I just zero out the controllers and I come back to my position, isn't it? Yeah. The problem that we have here, we already know about the freeze transformation, does we? Okay, the freeze transformation do just magic thing, just write something. In Houdini, if we go to Houdini, I'll explain you what's happened underneath, why it's, in Maya it's the same thing. It's in Maya only, this is black box, you don't see it. What's happened normally, if you freeze transformation, the channels are free and they are zero out. But this everything, what this what is this? This unnecessary stuff for us goes in pre-transform. But you don't see it because we have no node that's showing us this pre-transform. It just like disappeared. Okay, now the question is, okay, now I just take one object, align my controller object on it, it stays perfect aligned. What's happened when I freeze my transformation? The channels will be zeroed out. What's happened with orientation? I showed you already, for example, I showed you here. I go back, maybe I just create one polygon cube here because it's very important. Okay, I have this object, I rotate it, I put it somewhere. I just do it maybe here. And now I just do control object. I go here, create NURBS primitive. I don't know, I create a circle here. I just freeze transformation on it, that we see that it's everything clear here. Okay. Okay, now I take my parent object, my child object, and I go here and I say constraint, parent constraint, maintain offset off. add, and you see I have to scale a little bit my object here, an outliner. You see my NURBS is here. I delete my parent constraint, and if I scale it a little bit, you will see it doesn't matter. Ignore just first this because okay, we'll talk about this topic also a little bit. You see now I have perfectly aligned object. If you look at the orientation of this object, if I rotate it, you see my z-axis here, this one, and the same thing is here. They are perfectly aligned, and if I have some joint that I like to rotate in this way, is my z direction. I have to have this z direction. But what happened when I do this, when I take this one and I just freeze transformation on it, modify freeze transformation, you see my channels are right, but look what's happened to my orientation. It's very messed up. It's not matching anymore to the orientation of my object, and I cannot take it. What can I do to keep my object clean of the transformations and also have this orientation aligned to my parent object? What can I do there? Because also was very, very important stuff or step that I showed you.
Maybe create an offset group.
Right, we create an offset group. And why the offset group do the magic? Always this is my control object. I put in offset group. I orient my offset group wherever I want. My child object stays relative to the world on a 0, 0, 0. Doesn't matter what I'm doing here. That means your offset take all this back transformation on his shoulder. My object living in this world, because my object doesn't move and I doesn't rotate. I just rotate the world where my object living. Does it make sense to you? Why we're doing? Okay, this is a simple thing. I will do it again now and we'll see what's happened here. And I just take my, I just delete this guy here. I just create new, a new NURBS primitive. I just do a circle here. I just scale them before. I just do freeze transformation. Freeze transformations, and I put it on in a group. Okay, I just group it, and now I take my parent object, control select my group, not the control object, and I go now to constraint and parent constraint. Now I delete my parent constraint, but I don't need it anymore. And you see now my control object is totally free on every rotation here, but I have the perfect alignment with my object. Does it make sense to you? Okay, now, very important thing for you. After alignment, if you align your object, knobs, whatever, you align it. And now you have to change the shape of your control object. Is a big rule here for you. I write it down like here. Here, I put. Come on. Something happened to me. Change shape of control in component mode only. Why is it? Because if I already have my clean transformation here, now I can do whatever I want with my object here in a shape. For example, I can just go here, select my control object, go to my component mode, and now I just do whatever I want. I just can take this one, I can scale them, I can do, for example, very simple or a very creative thing with it. I can just take, wait a minute, I just can select every second I here, and I can scale it. You see now I have kind of this, and I would like to have this one. I can just scale it back. You see what's happened. If I do it in component mode, there is no changes on my transformer. My control stays clean. Does it make sense to you? Okay, that's it for repetition, because we will use this. This is the basics of rigging in this case.
What would happen if you change the object? Change something.
If you change something on a cube,
Yeah.
nothing happened. I mean, the cube is only your, because there is no dependency now, because we delete everything. We delete this. It's just like a trick. There is many ways to align object, but for me, it's just a simple one, because you select a tick, and this is done. Good. We do the break now, and after the break, we move on, because it's very important that you understand the basics. And these are the basics. Okay. Can you please stop recording, because we just lose.
Yes, I will.